What's going on, guys? So in this video I'm gonna be showing you this little, I guess it's not really a repair, but I had to add these tabs to this cast piece right here. This is some type of cast for like the bottom of a light post or something like that. I'm not exactly sure what it is or how it works, but all I know is it welds really shitty. Yeah, so this piece is obviously cast, and this is, I believe, 6061 or 5052. I'm not sure what type of aluminum it is exactly, but I just wanted to share some tips on how to weld this stuff. I got this tab welded. I have the pieces beveled, obviously, on the plate, so you can at least get some type of weld metal in there. Yeah, so this side I was having quite a bit of trouble with it. This stuff is really thick. It's about 1/2 inch thick, maybe a little less or a little more. Got the welder maxed out on like 200 amps on this Lincoln Square Wave Tig 200. So very basic welder, welding this really thick stuff, just regular argon. Obviously it is not gonna be strong, but I told the customer that in the beginning. It is welded on both sides. This is not a structural piece, but they needed it to be straight, obviously, the whole way. They made it a little too short because I guess they need to use the casting, and this is really cutting it for the edge. Also, what I was trying to say before is this edge right here is not a sealing surface, so they're not putting another piece on it to seal it. So they're obviously gonna go back and grind the welds off and flatten them out and smooth them out and everything. So it didn't have to be perfectly flat. This plate didn't have to be perfectly flat with this one. And yeah, also with welding this, I am stitch welding it. As you can see, I'm not welding it on one go because I don't want it to warp. Like I said, I'll weld it up here a little bit, and then I can come back down here, let it cool just a little bit, come back up here, and then just alternate, you know. And I tacked it quite a bit. Just some tips on this. This side you can kind of see like the pitting, it's a single focus, but you can see like the pitting from the cast, and I was preheating it and wire brushing it. So I just have like this little torch. I didn't preheat it too much because their main concern was with this, since this is like a $5,000 part, they didn't want it to warp. So I didn't preheat it too much, but I preheated a little bit with that torch just to where, touch it with my bare hands like real quick, and I just made sure it was hot, or I just used my glove and just put my hand on it with my glove on and felt how hot it was, and it felt pretty good. I don't have a little digital thing, but yeah, this was the first attempt at it. There's a little bit of gap there, so I weaved it a little bit, but I was having problems with this pitting in here, and I had the frequency, the AC frequency on my welder at about 65 because I was trying to get some more heat out of it because this is so thick. And then these are the other welds that I changed some settings on. I changed the AC frequency on this, is about 100 hertz. And I remember in one of Jody's welding tips and tricks videos, he was saying that the AC frequency, the higher it is, I guess I don't know what it does, but it manipulates the aluminum a little bit and it helps it when you're welding cast. So like now I don't have as much pitting as I had before in the toes of the weld. There's obviously still gonna be some pitting because this cast is really bad. The guy told me when I picked this up that it's a really nasty cast. So yeah, I didn't know what I was really in for until I started welding on it. It's been a real slow process because just not warping it like I said before. But yeah, let's do some more welding on this, and slowly but surely, because you gotta weld both sides on it. Try to get this thing finished. The customer needs it Monday so I can start making these. Oh, actually, I forgot. Before we warm this up, I'm gonna acetone wipe it again, just so I can get this cast as clean as I can get it, since it is so dirty. Just wiping it down with acetone. said, it doesn't have to be perfectly flat over here. Hopefully it's still in frame, but I have been checking it with my machinist square just to make sure it's really close. And it's very, very close. About as good as I can get it. So just gonna weld the rest of this. I'll probably stitch it right here in the middle first, and then work my way back and forth so that way, I mean, it's gonna pull at this point. Ain't much you can do about it. Obviously, besides put a whole bunch of heat to it, that won't be good for it. It's a really big piece, so I'm not too worried about it warping, but the guy was really scared about it warping because I guess he's had another person do it before. It's warped his casting pretty bad, and they had to fix it, so just really trying not to mess this part up for this guy. Yeah, so now I'm gonna let this cool. Maybe not all the way down, but for the most part, it should be. I mean, I'm not really too worried about it warping, like I said before. I don't think it's going to, because my welder is only 200 amps. So I don't think I'd be able to warp this, but I'm gonna let it cool down. Not all the way, but just to where I can still touch it. Like it's not hot at all over here, but it's fairly warm over here on this part of the casting. So I just want to let it cool so that way I don't damage the casting at all. And when I go back, I'll tack it, I'll clamp it up and then preheat it, and I'll show you that on this side and the other corner, because I didn't show you the other sides. So yeah, let's let this cool, and then we'll get back at it over here and I'll show you how to kind of fit it up and tack them up. Because if you try to tack this while it's cold, it will crack, and yes, I did try it without preheating it, so you definitely got to preheat it before you tack it, else the tacks will crack. So, something's cool, and then get back at it. So this is the process I was talking about earlier of how I clamp these plates. The other side is the side that needs to be pretty flat. And since these plates are two different thicknesses, this one has a little bit of overhang on it. So this plate sticks up a little bit higher than the actual casting itself. But I just put two clamps from like kind of crossways over it, so I can get both clamps on it, and then I just put two C-clips or C-clamps on the actual plate itself, just kind of to hold it flat, and this thing's obviously flat. And then I'm just gonna put, I'm gonna preheat it. Well, actually I'm gonna acetone wipe it and then preheat it, and then put a decent amount of tacks in here, and then I'll let it cool just a little bit, and I'll take the plate off, and then I'll tack the other side, and then I'll start welding on it. Need to finish this up for the customer tomorrow. The other corner's gonna be the same thing. So yeah, let's weld this shit up. I did get this finished up, and it has cooled all the way down. Welds obviously aren't gonna be the best in the world because it is cast aluminum and it's pretty nasty cast. Did scratch it up a little bit, so might hit it with a little bit of Scotch-Brite, or just see, they'll probably resurface it with the sander that they have, so not too worried about it. There's not Too many deep scratches. The only thing he said to watch out for was these little knobs on here on both sides, and I didn't really mess those up at all, so it's good to go. Drop this off to him. Maybe I'll be able to post some pictures of what it looks like after they finish it up and sand down the welds and everything. Took a whole lot more time than I thought I was gonna, but pretty sure the customer will like the final product.